Well, good evening, fellow explorers. Hey, Jennifer, Miss Eason,
Hello.
how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fired up today because
Good.
I had some things align over the last couple days that
Mhm.
I kind of want to jump into today, and I think you'll be okay with it. Well, you're
Oh,
always okay with it. You'll be fine.
let's do it.
You'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Stop,
Ab-
drop, and roll. You'll be fine.
That's right.
But I
Absolutely.
want to say that there's a lot of the stuff for anybody that knows either one of us knows that we researched some interesting things, and whether the alphabet company likes it or not, um, that's another story. That's why a lot of people have Rumble channels in addition to YouTube channels. So,
Mhm.
um, for anybody that knows me, that has watched any of my previous shows, knows that I'm a big Tesla fan and that I'm a big time travel buff. And there's a couple things I've been looking at over the last year and a half or so, and a couple people here and there have weighed in on a couple things, briefly on their sites or on their blogs, but nothing has ever been like connected, like brought together. Hello, oh, it's only Julie. No,
Hey, Julie. Hi.
um, so it's kind of been spread out, and the first person to kind of bring it together that I followed, if anybody's familiar with Jetson White. Um, Jetson's kind of put some of the things together. He did something, I think it was in 2018, had to do with time travel, Trump, and the whole nine yards. There was like a 7-part series. Each part was like 10 minutes long or whatever. So I've always been of the belief that from everything that I've seen, there's too many coincidences to lead me to believe otherwise. So there's the first thing I'm going to say, and people, you can agree with it or not. I believe Nikola Tesla is still alive.
Oh,
Um, maybe I should say one of the Nikola Teslas is still alive. I believe that we'll get into it here because I want to actually let me rewind for a second here.
mhm.
After I was thinking about this yesterday, what can Jennifer and I talk about tomorrow? Because I know she's been down some pretty deep, dark, dirty rabbit holes recently based on her videos and stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, what can we really dig into? And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jetson White or not, but
I've heard his name. It sounds familiar. There's another Jetson, somebody that I used to listen to also. Hi.
hello, KC.
Hello.
As
Yeah, the
Jennifer would say, the chatmosphere.
atmosphere. Yes.
But
Yeah.
he did that series in 2018. I did a show on it. I think it was last summer, and I didn't connect all the dots on that show, and I kind of felt like I needed to do more with that show, and it's kind of always bugged me. So last night, I was thinking, I was looking at some of my notes, looking at some of my files, looking at some, just looking at a bunch of stuff, and it kind of came to me. It was like, boom, like lightning just struck me. It makes sense that Nikola Tesla. The only way this makes sense is Nikola Tesla is still alive.
Mhm.
Um, that he's involved in what's happening with humanity right now to move it forward and to get us out of this mess that we're in. And I'm a big studier of all like the Trump rally videos and stuff. So last year I spent a lot of time. I don't know if anybody knows who Vincent Fusca is, or the idea of who he is. Anyway, forget what you think you know about Mr. Fusca. I don't know if that's his real name or not. That's just the name that this movement has given him, is Vincent Fusca. So there's a lot of things that have blown my mind, and I want to And right after I started thinking about that, I think Jennifer would love this idea. We can dive into this.
Okay.
On my YouTube feed last night, Jetson White posted, like within 3 hours of whenever I was doing this, posted an updated for 2022 series of videos from the 2018 about the time travel and Trump and that kind of stuff.
Oh, very
And it's like, so to me, that was like divine providence or something. It was like, okay, this is what we're talking about. We're going to talk about this today. We'll probably bounce all over, but I would like to do like almost like a watch party, like, because his video is about an hour long. So I would actually like to watch the video with everybody, and I would like to make comments as we go along, because I have a whole. This could actually be a two-parter because I have a whole nother section of stuff that I've compiled in addition to that. And there's another woman, an author named Lenora Thompson, I believe, has done some work on this in the past as well. And so it's all kind of coming to a head. It's all kind of coming like this. And it's just like all meeting in my brain, like right in the middle. So it's.
No, it's cool. What happens? You get confirmation if you're looking into something or you're circling back to something that you did. It seems that from 2016 on to 2020, it seems that weird things were happening with time, and it just seemed like you were in I don't know, it just seemed like a weird reality because you remembered something being a thing, and then you didn't know quite yet the term memory holding something. So you have this like weird thing. Like I remember it being Looney Tunes with a U, and you remember two O's. Yeah. Well, why would Looney or I remember it the other way, so it's the weird things that were going on. It was something between that time period of 2016 to 2020. But even going back to 2012, from what I understand, something about 2012 was pivotal when it comes to the study of, if you're into studying about time and quantum physics and things like that, and learning about like Tesla, even though I didn't know Tesla was going to kind of plug into the mud flood stuff, because I have yet to circle back to Tesla because of the free energy and things like that, and the World's Fairs. I'm sure you've seen all the weird stuff and they had these cities lit up and all of these glass structures that were built for this one fair, but it was just lit up. So what was that? The incandescent lighting and gas. I know we have the term.
We already have enough gaslighting. We don't need any more of that.
Yeah, we don't need. They went to a different form of gaslighting, not literal, but to put you in darkness, right? So it's like they play with things, inverted gaslighting. But that's what's interesting. That I'm glad you're going to revisit this. I'm so open to it because I was interested in it. Probably 2020. I was interested in the Pizzagate stuff from 2016. And then, of course, 2001, I was interested in the 9/11 thing. So it's been like consecutive times where I'm really delving into the information, So I'm interested in seeing how it plugs in. And also, we're retro. This is like a retro, I don't know, retro review of times, because now I'm wondering, John, when we watch these kind of things and we think about the wars, like the one in Iraq, and, I told you I want to start really focusing on understanding Nimrod, how Nimrod fits in, and then hearing that they raid these countries, they raid their museums. Well, not so much their museums, but they raid their palaces and libraries and any kind of ancient artifacts. So that kind of thing is interesting, hearing what was up in Iraq, possibly with Nimrod, Gilgamesh.
Yeah, they're really obsessed with Nimrod. I even heard some kind of, I use the word conspiracy theory, the phrase, because everybody throws it around loosely like it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does.
that they want to find Nimrod or Gilgamesh, their bones, because they want to clone them. Like they want to do something crazy like that, like getting their god back somehow, or like their leader, or their whatever you want to call it. Their anyway,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
some
understand.
crazy.
It's a it's like the stuff we watched, see in the movies where they have chambers for resurrection. So because the Egyptians and other cultures like antediluvian, they were so obsessed with resurrection. So,
Mhm.
now you and I talking about apocryphal books and looking at Genesis, the account, the flood account, and the Garden of Eden. What I'm thinking, John, is that, see, Gilgamesh, Nimrod, he represents the archetype of rebellion against God. So he's always tried to usurp and get beyond God's plan. So why wouldn't they be obsessed with resurrection? Because that's what Jesus Christ overcame, is death. So they want to overcome it, but they want to do it without Jesus. They don't want to do it according to the plan of salvation through believing on what Jesus did. They have their own way. So I believe this is the spirit of the same lies out of the garden. It's no different. It just all stems from that. Is like, get enough knowledge so you can be a god. You don't need to listen to that God because he limits all the fun. He's a party pooper. So let's do our own thing, do as thou wilt. So they've just taken on that Babylonian, the Tower of Babel, whole spirit of rebellion. So I can see now why they would be obsessed with Nimrod and resurrection, and then knowing the Egyptian culture, civilization, were obsessed with resurrection and death and funerary things, and the book of the coming forth, the book of the dead.
Mhm.
So the things that we're starting to connect, like with the South American, Mesoamerican civilizations, Aztecs, Mayans, Incas, they preserved their dead. They did it the same as the so-called Egyptians, where
Mhm.
you see skin and hair still intact, teeth, everything. Like one of the young girls that was at one of the burial mounds, like she was a sacrificial virgin. She was just like kneeling, if you're sitting on the ground and you just take your knees and hug them. It looked like she was just sleeping in that position. Everything, her clothing all preserved, her hair, everything. And you just start to see that this is all connected. And I heard it like best described as like, out of one hive, we're just getting waves and waves of different same type of players just out of one hive. But we call them different groups. But
Mhm.
it's the same basic group with the same objective.
Yeah. Yep, I 100% agree.
Mhm.
She's got a frog in the throat tonight. Maybe you got a little Gilgamesh in there or something.
But I think that's a good idea, like to like watch it, because that's interesting that he did an up-to-date version.
Yes, but I want to put out some concepts for everybody first that I think you have to kind of understand, or at least be open minded to. And these are concepts that I believe, I 100% wholeheartedly believe.
Mhm.
Having in college I took some physics, and I've kind of followed quantum physics for a number of years, like just self reading and that kind of stuff, nothing major.
Mhm.
But one of the concepts is that all time and space already exist. That the past, present, future, it all exists simultaneously at the same time. So, for example, if you were to think of, like, in like the Back to the Future movies, the concept of time travel is a linear thing. you're going in one direction backwards or you're going in one direction forwards. They don't overlap. So like when the universe was created, everything was created at the same time. Everything that could possibly ever be or ever will be, all was created at the same time. So, for example, if you were to believe in the concept of time travel and you were, say, you want to travel forward in time, in order for that destination to be there, that means it already has to exist. In order for you to get there, like otherwise you'd be going nowhere. So in order for you to travel to the future, that point in time has to already exist. Same with any of the, does that make sense so far?
That was profound. I never heard anybody put it so simple. Like, they don't think about, even when you entertain this concept, you're already buying in more than you think. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the hook right there. But that I 100% believe that all space, all time, everything exists simultaneously. Anything that you will do, can do, anybody else, any version of yourself, whatever you want to believe already exists. It's already there. Tesla, well, here, let me go back again. I want to define time travel. First of all, there's two kinds of, to me, time travel. There's time travel where you're witnessing an event, like whether it's in the future or the past, but you're not physically there. You're watching it. And then there's time travel where you physically move to that position or move to that, where whatever it is, that point in time. And to me, it all has to do with frequency. It all has to do with vibration. So like every point, every minute, every second of every day, like resonates at a certain frequency. So like if you wanted to travel to a certain point in the future, it would be like a radio. All you'd need is to know that specific frequency and dial into it. And you could like appear there. Like you could manifest yourself in that spot if you knew that frequency. So knowing those concepts, Tesla himself stated that when in one of his experiments, he was sitting between two of his Tesla coils that were arcing back and forth. He was messing around with positioning. Like he sat somewhere, I don't know if it was in the exact middle or somewhere near the middle, whatever it was. But he made the comment after the experiment, like he was so flabbergasted that he said he literally could see the past, the present, and the future at the same time when he was sitting between these coils. And we'll get into that in the video. But remember that concept that he could see the past, present, and future at the same time. And the concept of witnessing and traveling. Remember those concepts.
And they're not foreign. I want to just say real quick, they're not foreign concepts to a lot of people. That's why I want people to feel comfortable just entertaining the thought, because it'll even help to explain the things that, say, John the Revelator, he was, transitioned. A lot of these biblical accounts, the people experienced a form of time travel, right? Look at
Divine time travel is one of the other ones that I wasn't going to get into because I wanted you to see it in the video because it's brought up in the video.
Oh gosh. Okay. I just wanted to say that for anybody who's kind of feeling weirded out, like we've been hearing about this longer than we thought. Like,
because remember, God exists outside of time. Time is irrelevant to God. So, so those concepts plus a number of years ago, there was a gentleman named John Titor, like Titor, that claimed he was a time traveler from, I think, the year 2036. He started posting on a forum, and I don't remember the name of the forum now. But he started talking about his mission, why he was there, and other places he had visited, because I guess he had gone back into the 70s, and he had to visit a specific point in time, like 1999. And we'll get into that, why that's important. And he even describes his time travel device, and it was made by General Electric. And he had blueprints of it that he posted in this forum. He talked about its operation, what times of the year that it worked the best in, that kind of thing. He said a lot of things that people thought he was a whack job. And I don't know that I 100% agree at the time, but now that I've seen things over the last year and a half and have watched a couple of these videos, it does make sense now. And it actually clicked on a light and verified something in my head that I thought that I knew who this guy was. Like I'm not going to give it away because I don't want to blow everybody's, because it'll blow your mind. I love Jetson White. I don't necessarily believe 100% of everything in this video, but I believe the concepts that he's talking about or putting in his video, because he doesn't talk in the video, about time travel, Tesla, Trump, and what's happening in our world right now. And here's another thing you have to understand too. And Jennifer and I have talked about this before, about the late 1800s, early 1900s, that kind of thing. Like in 1920 or whatever it was, John G. Trump, or John Trump, we'll just call him Mr. John Trump, Trump's uncle, was studying. I can't remember what college he was at, but he ended up at MIT in the latter part to get his doctorate. So I can't remember where he got his master's. So it's I do, but it's one of those like brain farts. Like I can't remember it right this second. But he had a PhD in particle physics, like particle acceleration, like the idea of all electrical concepts. Where he was at and where Nikola Tesla lived in the New Yorker were about 2 miles apart. And I guarantee that Mr. John Trump spent a lot of time with Tesla in his later years. Tesla never gave up his secrets. Towards the end of his life, he kept things in his head because people like Chase and Edison and those guys were stealing his ideas and profiting off of them, or wanting to profit off of them. So Nikola Tesla purposely stopped keeping everything together and started keeping things in his head. He wanted somebody that he can give his ideas to and his inventions and that kind of stuff, but he didn't feel anybody was worthy. So he's almost to his dying day. Let's see, John Trump would have been, well, like whatever, a doctorate. So in his late 20s, whatever it was, at that time when Nikola Tesla was about 70 years old or whatever his age was in the early 20s, and then late 20s, early 30s. So the field that John Trump was involved in, he wanted to use it for medicine, like what became like X-rays and that kind of stuff eventually. And Nikola Tesla was working on frequencies to heal cancer and that kind of stuff, and John Trump was working on particle acceleration to like eliminate tumors without damaging the surrounding tissue, that kind of thing. And I guarantee they talked a lot, and eventually I think Tesla warmed up to John Trump and they became buddies and they became close friends. And I believe that Tesla gave a lot of his concepts and inventions and things to him. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump's family is involved with Nikola Tesla at some point in the not so distant past. And so just understand those concepts, the idea of John Trump, the idea of Nikola Tesla, the idea that all time exists simultaneously. And let me pull up this video. And it's kind of, I might fast forward in a couple spots because it's basically the way Jetson does videos. He'll do graphics with music, and then he'll have text, and then he'll move on to the next thing, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Here's another concept that you may or may not believe in, but I do, because it's been around since John F. Kennedy Sr., of the Q intelligence group. That's an Army division of the Army, irregular warfare. And in the Q movement, Q in the Army, Q is just above top secret. Q is like an intelligence or a security level that somebody acquires. Like if you watched The Hunt for Red October, Jack Ryan, the character, who coincidentally Alec Baldwin played Jack Ryan at that time before Mr. Harrison Ford did. And then you had Darth Vader. What's his name? Oh, geez.
Oh, Harris. Oh, you said Harrison Ford. You said Darth. Oh boy.
But you know who I mean. I have an image from the movie that I took as a still on their badges, their security badges, were the letter Q. Just for those people that don't think that Q really exists, or the Q detail, the Q, whatever you want to call them. So anyway, so Q started posting when all the stuff started going down that we are aware of when Trump got elected. He started posting in 2017. And I say he just because I don't know if it's he, she, or an artificial intelligence, which keep that concept in mind as well. CERN plays a part in this, and we've talked about CERN before, because Q had mentioned that, and I can't remember what number post is. I think Jetson puts it in there, but in one post it was Q equals Alice. And there is a facility called Alice at CERN, and it's believed that they use some of Nikola Tesla's concepts about time displacement. So keep that in mind as you're watching as well. I know that's a lot of concepts and a lot of, whatever, but James Earl Jones, yes, thank you.
Oh yes, Julie. How did we forget him? I saw his face.
Yes, I did too. Casey, yes, Bobolinsky said he had a Q security clearance. Yes, that's correct. There's a lot of people that have Q security clearance.
Has Babolinsky been seen ever since he had that press conference?
I don't know.
Nobody.
That could be a whole nother show on people that disappeared.
Oh yeah.
In the last year and a half.
That's true.
All right, so let me pull this up real quick. Okay, so I'm going to mute my mic as this is playing because hopefully there's no echo or anything like that. But like I said, I may fast forward briefly through little spots, but if you want me to pause or something, let me know. But otherwise, I probably will pause at a couple points just because I want to make a point. How many times could you say point in the same sentence or whatever? It's like a big run-on sentence anyway. But if anybody wants to jump in, Jennifer, yourself included, just let me know. Do one of these things or do whatever, just kind of. All right, so here we go. Maybe I could just mute the audio because all it is music. So I'll leave my microphone on. I'll do that. I know you guys were enjoying and digging the music, but
it was groovy.
Yes. There's as you're going through when these screenshots here are actually from the board, from the Q board. Not the original one because it's been taken down. QAgnews.org or something like that. But these up in the left-hand corner were the drop numbers, the post numbers, like in sequential order. So like this is post 791. And the post date was like February of 18th, 2018. So these are important with the whole concept of future proves past. And anything that Jetson highlights here is important to the concept that's following it or whatever, just so you know. This concept, especially right here, because Q never duplicated duplicated anything in the same post unless it was emphasized for a reason. And for those of you that don't know, you have Q who was doing the posts. Q plus was Donald Trump, was number 45, as we call him. So when you see Q plus, that's who posted. So number 45 posted this here. So when this protects 61446 protects 61446, he was born on 6/14/46. Just so when it's on there twice, that means there's more than one. So you're protecting this person who was born on this date twice. So that means there's two people that were born on that date that you're protecting. So keep that concept in your head as you're watching this.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It's kind of weird without the music.
It is, actually.
Oops. Guess if I hit play. That's how I feel some days. Where should I start?
I know. I can relate.
All right, here's where I was talking about Q. This was post 74. So it was an early post. Any of the early posts, like the first 200 or 300 posts, had a lot of significance. Like they were the most important because they were there to help decipher and decode what was coming later, kind of thing. So in post 74, Q posts, see, there's no Q plus, just Q. Q posts, Q equals Alice. You'll soon understand the meaning behind Alice and Wonderland. Everything has meaning. God bless. So again, I know some of these are foreign concepts and are kind of weird, and I'm going to try not to interrupt a whole lot because you'll lose the flow of the thought process. So I'll just continue to play. And if there's an echo, let me know. All right, here I'm going to pause again. Here's out where Alice is right here at CERN. This is the loop for CERN.
Okay.
And here is the Alice facility here.
Wow. Unreal.
This is important to know as well. I promise I'll try not to pause as much.
No, it's okay. This is good to revisit. It's interesting.
And post 2788 states, how is it possible this Q refers to this entity like itself, this entity. How is it possible this Q entity can forecast future events or know when the president of the United States is about to tweet? How is it possible future proves past? Information provided. Is it possible this Q entity, an entity who began by merely asking questions on the 4chan board, which is the board I was talking about, was able to fill in the blank, think logically. So, all right. Hey, Kyle, how you doing?
Hello, Kyle. Happy Monday.
This was, as far as I know, this is the only post that has these three brackets around Q plus, around number 45. And it has the word power. And this is where the Tesla connection is going to come in.
Oh.
And as far as I know, out of the thousands of posts, this is the only one that has those three brackets. And it will come into play at a Trump rally here in somewhere down the video here. So I will, again, I'm just excited. I love this stuff. I can't help but pausing. The VIP Patriot is important to understand, though, the VIP part.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the rallies that I was talking about. This was a Trump-Pence rally, so it was early on.
Mm-hmm.
See, he'll eventually blow this up, but this person right here, like I said, when I would look at the rally videos and stuff like that, besides Vincent Fusca, I would see this gentleman here quite a bit. And we'll forward this a little bit here. This is what I believe is Q is talking about is VIP Patriot. Looks an awful lot like number 45, but older, doesn't he?
Wow. I see what you were saying. Like from this. Wow. Hmm.
And Q even posted about this Q baby here. This baby has the Q on the back of the little jammies here
Yeah.
in this same image with this gentleman here. This is actually a Secret Service agent. This is a Secret Service agent as well,
Okay.
standing near this gentleman.
Oh, wow.
Does look an awful lot like number 45, older. Not the baby. And then in post 1582, Q says, or Q plus says, now that's what I call a VIP, referring to the gentleman and referring to the QAnon baby. Because the QAnon baby is what that picture became known as, not knowing about the gentleman behind the baby. Q said many times that a lot of these things have double meanings. This gentleman here got his picture taken with number 45. And he said, and this is in quotes, I had the opportunity to take a picture with him, yada, yada. And he asked him, if you read this whole post, it talks about the questions that he asked number 45. One of them was, is Q real? And that kind of thing. And Trump didn't answer him directly. He basically says, I don't know, maybe. And I do know they are great people, is what he said. So moving forward a little bit. I actually kind of like this without sound. This is the same gentleman. This is a picture that he sent to this gentleman, like he mailed him a picture. And I'll show you the back of the picture. But on the back of the picture, it was signed with that plus symbol and those three brackets. It didn't have his, well, you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping ahead of myself here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the back of the picture right here. That was the signature on the back of the picture. And this was the bag it came in. And this was the stamp or the little, support our troops. There's another concept I want to put out there for those people that don't or haven't heard it. But this, in these brackets here, the three brackets, again, where we go one, we go all. That's what this stands for. So this will tie it into a concept that comes later in the video. And I'm not going to give it away because I want you to be kind of surprised by it. But in this movement, where we go one, where we go one, we go all, basically means it's everybody or nobody kind of thing. Like we're not leaving anybody behind. And it actually came from a movie. Can't remember the name of the movie now. But it involved a group of guys. There were sailors. I think Jeff Bridges was in the movie, and they had a bell on either the dock or the ship that had that engraved on it. And he said, one of the lines he said was, where we go one, we go all. So that's where that comes from. So keep that concept in your head as well. Just everybody goes. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I love, what's that phrase? I love it when a plan comes together.
Right.
Now, that same instance where that gentleman in the QAnon baby, as it's called, Q had made mention, important moment in time. Also, the where we go one, we go all is in the three brackets again, not Q, but the where we go one, we go all. The picture will be the signifier. The signifier will force the Q. Hold on. I hate when this thing pops up. I can't read. The Q will be answered. Okay, so again, now that you know those concepts, I'm going to try and keep my hand off the clicker here, as my mom would say. Get your hand off the clicker. And for those of you old enough to know what the clicker is, God bless you. Before that, we actually had to get up off the couch and walk our ass over to the TV and actually turn the dial to change the channel.
You were the clicker.
Yes, that's right. And yes, Q did post that. Oops, that is important. Because everything has meaning. And for that to be the only thing in the post, I'll show you here in a second. Time travel is fun. That was in post 3555. So remember, time travel is fun. I know that. We all know that, don't we? And that was his statement. I could see the past, present, and future all at the same time. So this one of these, this patent here, it's hard to read who it's from, but it was filed in 2004. Method of gravity distortion and time displacement. This was approved on April 2006. And it's hard to read. It's kind of fuzzy because the quality of the video is like at only 480p. So when you blow it up, it distorts the images. But anyway, there's been more than one patent for time travel involving gravity distortion slash time displacement slash whatever you want to call it. And as was stated, John Titor is the person who claimed he was from the future, from 2036. So is everybody familiar with the Philadelphia experiment, first of all, or the Montauk Project? Basically, the Navy was trying to figure out a way to cloak a ship, like to make it disappear from radar and that kind of stuff. But supposedly or allegedly, they accidentally invented time displacement, time travel. The reports that came out of there, like people and objects were like melded into the ship. So like they were out of phase with like, so like there was arms coming out of the bulkhead and out of so people weren't in the same place they were when this whole thing started or whatever. So there was like, heads sticking out of the wall that were still alive, arms, that kind of thing. And so anyway, that's what happened with the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk project. And so
Can you imagine just revisiting the Philadelphia experiment? That was something that you would think growing up in Philadelphia we would have learned in school.
right.
But we didn't. Hey, Karen, you say the Philadelphia experiment, the military tries to cloak a military Navy ship and it ended up in New York City's, up in Montauk. Is that where it wound up? You know, that shows you just how much things are suppressed. Because again, in the Philadelphia school system, this should be something I should be able to talk about. Like I should be like an almost expert. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about this Philadelphia experiment. You
Yeah,
know,
you just knew about the Fresh Prince. That's all you guys
that's
had.
all I knew about. That's all they want us to know about is the Fresh Prince and foolishness, right? But yeah, the Navy Yard in Philadelphia was really bustling. Like they made the big ships in Philly. So to think that
Mhm.
one of those big, massive ships um, was stuck between, timelines, and I heard that something happened in the world. So you have to think about that didn't just happen and it was isolated to that
Yes.
experiment in Philadelphia. That did something to throw something off. I'm
We're
sure.
going to get into that here shortly
Good.
because
Yeah.
and this involves Tesla and why Jetson thinks he's still alive as well.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes.
And you know what? Let me ask you this real quick, and anybody like that could answer this question. What do you think about a person? A lot of us are believers here, but what do you think about a person who would have been involved in this Philadelphia experiment and they are stuck between, like you said, an arm or a leg is coming out of the wall, their body is half in one time zone, and then they're in another place in time. So the body physical has been disrupted, right? So what about the spirit and the soul of the person? I'm just putting it out there.
That's a good question because unless you know the exact definition of what a spirit or soul is, and we just know what we feel that we know that God wants us to believe is our spirit and our soul. It's like it's a concept that's hard to grasp because it's like with cloning and stuff like that. When you technically you're creating a sentient living being, but does it have a soul? Is it because it wasn't created by God or wasn't created naturally? Does it have a soul? At least in the sense that we know of. Because I would imagine that spiritually our soul is connected to heaven. It's connected to God, and would being displaced, excuse me, being displaced in any way, would you retain it? Would your soul be separated from yourself? Yeah, I mean, it's like when people have near-death experiences and they see their bodies on the table and they're floating above them, and they have these experiences in heaven or with Jesus, and but their body's still on the table. It's
Mhm.
so it's interesting. Like when you displace anything that's living,
Yeah.
that's
And it
I don't
wasn't
know.
done or it wasn't ordained. In other words, like this is back to I am seeing that the Tower of Babel for this cycle that we're in right now, it seems like it would involve this type of messing with this is now entering into let's touch and eat of the fruit of the tree of life. Would you think like this is tampering with everything that I can imagine? They're doing it all with DNA. It's no different. They were doing it in Babylon. When you look at the Ishtar gates and you see all those animals that were on the gates and they were chimeras. So I'm just saying, like, when it comes to this, it just seems like thinking about this experiment, I would think that the people that died, because they died, right? We could just say that confidently. They didn't come back into their life like they were, right? So they were now like this was collateral damage. These people died that day because I never heard of them being retrieved. So are
And
they
I'm
now? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they become like what
they're
is
lost at sea is like what the official government, narrative would be. They were
Oh, I
lost at
see.
sea,
Oh,
like
that's a
that.
good point. Okay, lost at sea. So that's how it
Yeah.
would be categorized. They're lost at sea.
Yeah.
Even though there's a
Or
body part there, how
their family would never see their bodies again. They would never
oh,
they
okay. Oh,
they would get a visit from somebody and they'd say, "I'm so sorry, but
oh.
on this particular mission, we can't give you details because it was top secret,
Mhm.
but your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, whatever is lost at sea."
Gotcha.
And that would be that. And you'd get a government pension or whatever it was, and then they'd expect you to move on with your life.
Yeah, Julie, that's what I was thinking. Like the Bermuda Triangle, right? So, like, what I'm saying is for you to believe, like, okay, if we go by the Christian, cosmology of what the body and the world is, its relationship to this 3D earth. So, if you're suddenly taken out of it like that, I guess it would be the same as being killed in battle, right? So, you're saying, like, so
Yeah. Yep.
okay. I was just thinking, would they be stuck like in a limbo kind of between
I
time?
don't think so. Because once everything reintegrated, you would be in so much pain that you would probably die very shortly. Because imagine like being suddenly somebody poured 10 tons of concrete on you or something like that instantly, and you couldn't breathe or whatever, and you'd be alive for a certain period of time, but you would die. But it just that's a whole. We could actually talk about that as a whole separate subject.
I was just it's
Yes,
interesting.
it is interesting,
Oh, wow.
but
All right.
it's a lot of like if and I keep telling you this. I know you don't ever have any free time, but you have to watch the X-Files because they cover stuff
Oh,
like
that's
this.
right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I do. I really wanna start watching those. And Highlander, who recommended I know
Yep.
nothing about
I
this
s- I was
Highlander.
I had the same episode. I said Highlander was a good,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
X-Files and
Right.
Fringe, that was the other one.
Fringe, okay. I'll hold it. I've never seen any of them. Wow. Well, a little bit of
Before you die, you will.
yeah.
I'm gonna play a little bit of music but I'm gonna play it from StreamYard because it's kind of to me it's kind of creepy that there's no music.
Yeah, when they make it with a
Like
music.
I'm watching a silent film and everybody's trying to be quiet or something. It's like,
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It would make it move along however they were
let's see, what do
intending,
you think of this? Let's see here.
or they would have narrated, right? But still.
Hold on. Hold on.
That was good.
Make it low enough so I could talk over it. There we go.
Yeah, that sounds nice, right?
All right, here we go.
Makes you think of Philadelphia, doesn't it, everyone?
Jeez. Oh, this it doesn't. Well, it says it doesn't say it here, but I think this is like a drawing from John Titor, the guy from the future,
Okay.
showing the diagram of how his GE time travel device was laid out.
Okay.
And you don't have to understand any of this to know what's going on. So, all right. So, I do want to explain the concept of a singularity. If you don't know what a singularity is, it's basically another name for a black hole, which supposedly is like one of the strongest forces in the universe. Like even light can't escape it. So, that's what the concept is here that's being shown. Look who we have here. The early pioneers of particle acceleration, Mr. Tesla, my buddy, Mr. John G. Trump, and Robert Van de Graaff, who is Mr. Trump's contemporary at the time. He put all the episodes together in one video. That's why it has this to be continued on there. Full disclosure, I did ask him recently if he wanted to be on one of the shows. So he may pipe up and come on. Who knows?
Which one out of the three?
Oops, hold on.
Which one out of the three did you ask?
Say that again.
Which one out of the three there did you ask?
No, John Jetson White.
Oh, Jetson. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Here's a video. I'm going to turn the sound up.
Okay.
Come on.
This is another of the series entitled Vignettes of Early Radiation Workers, sponsored by the Bureau of Radiological Health. These consist of unrehearsed interviews with scientists working mostly in fields that impinge upon the applications of ionizing radiation to diagnostic and therapeutic radiology. From Poly, you went then to MIT to pursue your graduate work.
Yes, I did. There was an intervening 2 years. While I was instructor at Poly, I studied physics at Columbia University and got the master's degree there.
Now,
all right, Columbia University, that's what it was, that John Trump. That's okay, because that's John Trump in the interview there, just FYI.
when you went to MIT, I believe your original intentions, if they may be so described, was to go into electric power types of applications. Is that right?
I came there primarily to become a good designer of high-power electrical machinery. However, in the process of looking for a doctorate thesis, I selected a suitable topic in my area and went to see Vannevar Bush. Bush heard me on my problem.
And for those, again, not familiar, particle acceleration right now is what CERN does. The CERN Hadron Collider, all it is a particle accelerator. And remember the concepts we've talked about in the past videos about people fearing that they would open a rift in space-time, or they would create a singularity inside the particle accelerator. So keep those in the back of your head still.
And then he said, you ought to go and see Van de Graaff. He has just arrived at MIT from Princeton, and he has some wild ideas. And I abandoned the design of electric machinery and began studying the insulation of high voltages in vacuum and the acceleration of heavy particles to high energies. He was brought to MIT after producing a model which went up to 1 million volts. Actually, they were two 500,000 volt generators looking at each other. This was a huge double electrostatic generator with spheres which were 15 feet in diameter, set on a textilite pedestal 25 feet high. Two huge machines. One was to run positive and the other negative.
These are the figures I was referring to earlier that people have to understand. This is just one little segment of our society where these elites, Kabbalists, whatever you want to call them, had an influence in our in the narrative, as it were. Especially Thomas Edison, who literally left Nikola Tesla penniless, stole his ideas. And I know, and I know for a fact that Jetson does not like these guys at all, and that's why he calls them bloodline snakes. Marconi, J.P. Morgan especially, because Tesla didn't want to play ball with them. He basically ruined his life. Gave everything to Edison, stole Tesla's ideas and his with the DC current and AC current, that kind of stuff. So, and the rest is history with Edison. Everybody loves Edison because they think he's a hero because he invented the light bulb and all this other stuff. And there was things that he did on his own, but he didn't do them all on his own. He had help from Nikola Tesla's work, thanks to J.P. Morgan Chase. But anyway, I digress. I get pissed about stuff like that because I love Nikola Tesla.
Another thing about J.P. Morgan is his also connection to the Jekyll Island group too. He met either he met with them or he was definitely part of the Titanic crew that he didn't remember. He missed the boat.
Yes.
So he's part of us, you could say, a conspiracy to get rid of those other ones that were on the boat that didn't want to go along with the Federal Reserve. So that's interesting that he pops up. Of course he does, right?
Let's see here. I'm looking because somebody brought this up. I have a photo somewhere. 1 second. That music. Yes, Julian Assange looks remarkably like John Trump. In my book, since Casey and Karen brought that up. Yes, I literally have pictures of everything.
Yeah, I can see that. They have, I mean, if you do
They look very similar.
Yeah, like we're so plastic surgery oriented, our society. So I've gotten used to looking at faces and being able to tell, like, have they had any surgical procedures? So you look at that chin, it looks like, I mean, it's the same type of chin.
If you have the same curve here, you know,
Yeah.
the same little.
Lips. It's interesting.
To me, they have the same eyes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, I
They
have
can
no
be related.
no
I mean,
clue.
I'm saying, yeah, they could definitely be in the same family. You wouldn't think anything.
I still can't get over this one. Oops. Hold on. We talked about that in a video or two ago about this ancient carving of look like Trump.
Oh, right. Where is that again? Where is that?
I think it was in England. Let's see here.
Oh.
Yeah, Southwell Minster Church in Nottinghamshire, 700 years old. So, but yeah, and this picture here shows again John Trump and Julia Assange, where people kind of photoshopped it a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Then Julian Assange's real parents down here.
Oh.
His real father and his real mother.
Oh, wow.
Or at least his quote unquote birth parents.
Yeah. Okay. More current pictures.
just
too.
like the Obama's kids' birth parents, you know. But anyway, I digress. Okay, back to the show.
I hate to say this, but JP Morgan has like a Village People mustache. Oh, no, I was gonna say he kind of looked like he had the Village People mustache. I'm just being silly.
Wow, that's.
Carry on. I'm just saying. I was looking at
Are you
JP.
drinking out of your beaker again?
He just looked like he could have been in the Village People. It was the mustache. I'm sorry. You don't see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Me? You see it, Julie? He could have been totally part of the Village People. Okay, I'm sorry. Please carry
He
on.
looks like somebody that has like a 1%er kind of power, and he doesn't care about you personally.
Definitely.
And he would have people with lead pipes come visit your house. That's the kind of guy he looks like.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a real, like, menacing type.
I want to talk about coil winding since it's brought up right here. Since I love electric guitars, I own a few, and I've always loved, you know, rock music. And one of the things I've learned over the years was that with really, really thin copper wire, when they make the pickups for the guitar, the part of the guitar that actually picks up the vibration from the strings and, you know, puts it into the amplifier so you can hear the sound. The windings of any coil, whether it's like a pickup for a guitar or for an electric motor, it's like every company, it's like a recipe for, like in cooking, everybody has their own unique way of doing it, and how many windings there are, and you know, no two are the same if it's not like done on a machine kind of thing. But Tesla was a master when he started doing his own windings, his own for his generators and things like that.
Interesting. You know what I want to add to this real quick? Hold it. Because you do the, wait a minute, you do the music. And I want to ask you, okay, you said you do electric guitars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I learned something.
Depends on what you mean by do.
You play electric. You do electric. How dumb does that sound? No.
I was trying to make a joke. I wanted you to fall into that trap, but you didn't. So anyway.
I didn't. Oh, I just want to ask you this real quick. Okay, it just reminded me when I was studying the island that makes tweed, the weavers of tweed. Scotland, yeah, the island of Harris and Lewis. They said that there are other uses for the tweed, and one of them is to cover electric guitar, something to do with, do you know what I'm talking about?
For amplifiers.
Is it for amplifiers? Okay.
I'm pretty sure, because some of the older amplifiers are commonly referred to, like especially in the 70s, at the height of the rock era, like the British rock era, I should say, British specifically. They used to call them tweeds. Tweed amplifiers, because they would have tweed covers. They would like the mesh cover in front of the speaker would be tweed.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what, see, when you said that, I was like, wait a minute. When you talked about the Fender tweed. So guitars, retro guitars use the tweed made in, I'm sorry. I just thought that was, I'm all over the place. I just wanted to ask you, did you know?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay.
That's just going to make you go underground for another week. And then.
I'll be, oh my God, the tweed.
But in that industry, especially with, you know, electric power and current and things like that, the coil winding with the copper wire, the thickness of the wire, like the gauge of the wire, the amount of windings all play a part in like resistance and the amount of amperage. And it's like and Tesla was the master at it. He was just, it's just, anyway.
This is so exciting, like to make these connections.
Yeah, we're literally 11 minutes into the video. It's like, gonna be a long video, folks. It's almost like that uncomfortable, awkward silence when you got like 10 or 12 people in an elevator and there's like music playing and like it's like you don't know whether to like to jam to the beat or to just keep to yourself or that kind of thing.
Right. There's the 1800s again. This was the schematic that John Titor posted of was it GE C204 device. Major systems description, Army model GE C204. So this was the schematic. And it was like the size of a suitcase. It wasn't a big machine or anything. He was able to carry it with him. This was the gentleman, in case you haven't put together, that was the lead on the Philadelphia experiment. Look at how like he's not that old. So this was not that long ago when you really put it in perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to leave my mic on. If you hear an echo, let me know. I'll turn it off otherwise, but I'm going to leave it on because I keep sometimes forgetting to unmute myself and I look like a raving lunatic because I'm throwing my arms around and stuff and I'm not. It's like I'm underwater, like a Houdini or something, like trying to escape. You were talking about the hotel with the underground or the city with the underground. Was it New York that you were talking about?
Lots
earlier.
of yeah. Karen, you
Yeah.
probably remember when I was trying to talk about that and got the live feed cut. Yes, so many things underground.
Well, as you saw there, Tesla and they designed the only hotel known to have its own power plant beneath it. There's that underground part again. Tesla used this power to send himself into the future first and then into the past before returning to the present. So keep that in mind. That's what I was referring to earlier about the heavenly kingdom. Like this is the other form.
Right. Okay.
I knew the beaker was going to come out. Imagine it this way. Who else could understand your concepts better than yourself? A younger version of yourself that haven't come up with the concepts yet, but you go back and you grab a younger version of yourself and you bring them to your time and you say, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to live that long. I'm already 70 some years old. People are out to get me, yada, yada, yada. And in secret, you tell him, this is what I've done already. This is what you need to do. He would be the perfect candidate to understand those concepts. Like you wouldn't have to try and train somebody or try to explain how these different things worked. Like you literally could just plug and play him right into what you're doing. That's not even the part that's going to blow your mind, by the way. I found this interesting, the fact that President Trump closed Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs. And this is the site Tesla chose for testing out his first magnifying transmitter. And it's been since lockdown since March 15th, 2020. I do believe that is where the Tesla that's alive now was working, out of Cheyenne Mountain. And this is the part that blew my mind about Cheyenne Mountain. My wife knows this, Julie. I'm a big fan of the series Stargate. If you've ever watched the show Stargate, you've never seen that either, Jennifer?
I know. I'm really behind on all of this stuff. I haven't seen it.
This was like from the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s kind of thing.
I remember seeing maybe like
MacGyver, like I can't remember his name.
I saw the previews, but I never watched the show. But I know, enough I can picture the way things looked.
It was based on the movie that Kurt Russell was in, and of the same name, Stargate.
Okay.
Their base of operations for the Stargate was in Cheyenne Mountain. And it's important to understand the concept of Stargates. because that concept, again, that's one of the things that I don't necessarily 100% agree with Jetson on, because at some point down the video, he'll mention the Sirius Stargate, like this in the Sirius constellation. There's a lot of people that believe there's multiple Stargates around the universe, and including this realm. So one of the escapes humanity has is through this Stargate, through a rapture event, and it involves. Well, you'll see. I don't want to give it all away because I'm getting way ahead of myself. But I think it's a unique coincidence that Cheyenne Mountain, of all places, would be mentioned as part of this, because in the movie and in the series, it's like 10 seasons of it. It all takes place in Cheyenne Mountain. So keep that concept of a Stargate in your head too. And if you haven't seen the episodes, we have talked about Project Looking Glass in the past and what it is. It involves, this is the kind of time travel where you're witnessing and not traveling. So you're seeing the effects of past events, how it affects the present and the future, that kind of thing. Specifically the present. We talked about that bottleneck in 2012, that kind of stuff. So, but Q mentions Project Looking Glass specifically going forward in order to look back. This is one of the most important concepts in my research, in my brain, in my crazy brain, that ties Nikola Tesla to here and now. This, in post 1948, blue skies, nothing to see here. Do you believe in coincidences? You're going to see something, and again, I think this was in New York, an event that took place. And that's all I'm going to say. I'll let it continue, then I'll comment again. Operation Blue Skies, first of all. That's what this was called. The dates are important, and this is what had me so excited. This was from December 28th, 2018. And this was a Twitter image around 10 p.m. last night, an explosion at a Con Edison facility in Astoria, Queens, New York. See, everything seems to take place in New York. Sent an aqua blue pulsating light across the entire New York sky for a few hours. The headline or the cover story was that it was an explosion at Con Edison facility. So keep that in mind, and the date. And the color blue. I'm guessing Karen knows this, but are any of you familiar with the Schumann resonance? The Schumann resonance frequency, because that plays a big part in this. Actually, there was a channel I used to follow early in this that all they did every day was they posted an updated Schumann resonance image.
Yeah. I used to follow it a lot back when I was working in New York. 2020, I was, because it was more people online before the big, purging of the accounts. So a lot of people were posting about Schumann. You could definitely, because the AI would, the algorithms were working. So if you looked at that, if you
Right.
even said it, like you spoke it, it was already being recommended, right? So
You're done. You're off Twitter, or you're off YouTube.
well, now you are, but I mean, during 2020, remember it was a lot of voices. So the Schumann thing became interesting to me, and I was looking at something recently where they have a lot of the caves all around the world realm, and they have like in one cave group, they have these triangles that are like, it looks like they're carved into the wall of the cave, and there's this special acoustic, if sound is what do you want to say, sound is created in this area, it could heal a person like of so many things, like it'll
It's like 432 hertz or something like that. And
Mhm.
there's spectrum peaks. I think somebody said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Karen said that.
And inside these caves all around, like I'm going to cover that one day, but it's just
Well,
beautiful.
this has to do with the hollow earth thing. That's what I was like.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
See, like if you read this graphic, like, well, up at the top it says, though it's impossible to find proof now, the first Operation Blue Sky took place in the 1900s during the testing phase of Tesla's Wardenclyffe magnifying transmitter tower. Further, the magnifying transmitter was conceived to transmit electricity in a variety of ways. Tesla could utilize the carrier waves traveling within the Earth. That's important to understand, because an event happened, I think, in 2018, that you have to understand this concept and why it excites me so much. Example, the Schumann cavity, and that's where it gets its name from.
Okay.
And or the Earth's geomagnetic pulse. He could transmit frequencies through the air, or he could beam a carrier wave up to the ionosphere and use it for transport. I will confess that I was disappointed when I first made tests along this line on a large scale. They did not yield practical results. At the time, I used about 8,000 to 12,000 volts of electricity as a source of ionizing rays. I employed a powerful arc reflected up into the sky, trying only to connect a high, and it goes on. But that it creates a blue cast when this happens. The sky turns blue. That's
Okay.
what you're going to find out here.
Oh, wow.
Love that graphic. Very 80s. For those that are into gematria, actinium, which is the 89th element, is 17. And its atomic weight is 10.07, which is also 17. And this is the part that's gray for me, that I'm not 100% on board with yet, but it's I have an open mind to it, and it's an interesting concept. He will go into it a little bit here, but he has an entire video series just on that. There you go. He's kind enough to show you. That's insane. That chart image right there, that shows that it's not natural. That Schumann resonance right there.
Oh.
And it happened 2 months in a row.
Hmm.
2 months in
Now-
a row, the amplitude of the Schumann was off the chart for exactly 12 hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Casey is asking rapture event. I was wondering that too. Now,
We'll get into that.
okay,
I don't want to explain it right now because it'll ruin kind of what's coming up, but it ties in with the concept of how humanity is going to be saved and removed from this timeline, basically. If that makes any sense. Well, it'll make more sense later, but it's just they call it the rapture event, at least in this. Jetson does it anyway. So I can't 100% answer it yet because we need to have shows and I need to do. Jennifer and I need to keep employed here, so we want to string this out a little bit. On the left there, that's typically what the Schumann resonance looks like on a typical day. This area over here. These two, this on February 17th, 2019, and the other March, for 12 hours exactly, the Schumann resonance was literally off the chart in the earth. I don't know about you. After I saw that, I wanted to go buy a gong and do that. That's an awesome sound. Because remember, one of the things that was said about the end times that there would be sounds like the sound of trumpets or the sound of, like, it would sound like the earth was resonating or the heavens was resonating. I mean, listen to that sound. And this is just a small, gong. Think about the size of the earth and running that same kind of that power through the earth and making the earth resonate like a bell or a gong. And it probably won't be Godzilla, just FYI.
Tesla had two methods in mind, both using the same apparatus. One would involve electrical current flowing through the Earth with a return path through the upper atmosphere. The other method, it would be what Tesla called an Earth resonance system, a single wire transmission line where the Earth itself would become part of the circuit and would be resonating like a bell rings when you strike it with a clapper. And so there may be something to the speculation that there is an acoustic property or aspect to the operation of the Wardenclyffe Tower.
This is one of the things I was talking about that happened on this island off of the coast of Africa in 2018. Underwater radar testing took place on November 11th, 2018, when a perfectly timed worldwide repeating ping was successfully transmitted for 20 minutes. So keep that in mind too. So Julie says maybe that's what actually causes earthquakes. The non-natural ones, yeah, I guarantee that's one of the technologies they probably employ. Because since we're on that subject, I think we brought this up. No, actually, it wasn't on this show. It was on one of my morning shows. I had brought up the fact that I thought it was a coincidence, the timing of it anyway. Let me find it real quick here. Sorry, Jennifer. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now.
I'm just, it's interesting to revisit it like this stuff now. I'm really thinking a lot about some things. It definitely hits me different, like all this stuff now, as opposed to when I was looking into this in 2020. It's interesting, the connections. And
On the 27th, I posted this and I said, interesting timing. This is from, I got this from Live Science. Underwater volcano in Antarctica triggers 85,000 earthquakes. The swarm of 85,000 earthquakes was the strongest seismic outburst ever recorded in Antarctica. Only reason I bring that up because I don't think it's natural. And Antarctica has always been associated with the cabal and with the deep state. And you have players like John Kerry and those guys always seemingly at odd times, like right after Trump got elected, going down to Antarctica. This is where the whole concept from Admiral Byrd of the hollow earth, and where the Ariani, the beings live, where all this stuff happens, and the ice wall and having the continents beyond the ice wall. So I just found it interesting with everything that's going on that on the 27th that showed up somewhere, and the way it was described was kind of dramatic, So anyway, thanks, Julie, for leading me off on that tangent there. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. That's all I got to say, because Jennifer's broke the beaker out, so I know she is. And this is why I brought up where we go one, we go all in the beginning, because this is where it converges into this concept here, this what we call the rapture event. I'll say a little more as we get a little farther along, but he's going to try and tie it in here a little bit so you understand it a little bit better. That's another reason why I thought it was interesting, because the Bible does call it the last trump. I don't know. I find that interesting anyway. I'm like one of that annoying little kid in the back of the class that just keeps asking dumb questions. Hold on. What does Julie say? Interesting that folklore says sirens can sing, indicating that a certain vibration can make man do things.
That's a good point, Julie. Nice point. We think of water, and I'm into that whole, like, there's something to the marine kingdom and the mythology.
No, I can't wait to see that, because I am too, but I'm too lazy to research it because my brain's so far in other directions.
Yeah, it's
You
a
have like
lot right now. It is a lot that you can go down so many different paths. But I like that she says that because I've been hitting on the sirens, and I'm about to do something with mermaids actually coming up soon. And then you
you
look
already
at
did the Naga.
yeah, the Naga, and then you look at the fact that, like, I've been mixing in a lot of mythology, and I've found artwork that hangs in many museums all around our country, and it has a lot of these mythical figures. And one of the pictures I've showed in one of my videos where the sirens, they were languishing around in these caves above the cliffs, like they're in the cliffs and the ocean and everything. You could see a boat, like one of the clipper ships, and you could see it's all like turned over and just sinking. And then it was three sirens, and they're just beautiful. They're in the cave, and they have these treasure chests opened up and all the gold, and they're bringing all the treasure back to their cave. And I was like, isn't that just the way?
Like Beyonce or somebody,
Or Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Probably more, yeah.
See, Siren, Naga, I don't know. It's like
It's a lot. But yes, Julie. Absolutely. Sirens.
So he posts this, the 1 Corinthians 15:52, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and we shall be changed. That's the word I want everybody to understand is, or the phrase, we shall be changed.
Yes, Karen. Very serious.
There's that bell I was talking about. This is where we go one, we go all.
Right. Okay. Mhm.
So this obviously this is kind of a loaded slide here. And this is kind of, like I said, it's a little gray for me because I'm still not 100% on board with this. I am open-minded to it, but it's not a concept that I'm like 100%. If you've watched any of his other videos, he does talk about the realm, not the globe, the realm. And the dome, which we've all heard about, especially at the edges of the realm, like towards Antarctica, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what he's describing here, is that Tesla's technology will be used basically to initiate a Stargate inside the dome instead of outside of it, to get humanity, at least the people that are going to be, that have, let's just say, have ascended to a godlike consciousness, or have redeemed themselves, or if you're not an evil person, you're going to be one of the people moving on to this next phase of humanity, kind of thing. And it gets explained a little bit more in this video, but not a whole lot more. And this is his compilation list of some of the reasons why he thinks Nikola Tesla is still with us today. So the Operation Blue Skies, the Schumann resonance amplitude rise, 2 lightning strikes on the Washington Monument, which I thought was epic. The mysterious worldwide Mayotte wave, that was that island off the coast of Africa that was recorded for 20 minutes. So I have other things I can add to this too, but those are the reasons why he thinks that he's still with us. It's awesome music, man. I'm telling you. feel like I'm sitting in like Club 42 or whatever, and it's just got some weird funky, like 70s roller skating music going on or something. Like, you remember I was talking about the color blue and that light in the sky over New York, yada yada yada. This is a quote from Nikola Tesla himself. I've constructed and patented a form of apparatus which, with a moderate elevation of a few hundred feet, can break the air stratum down. You will then see something like an aurora borealis across the sky. And I don't remember. I think it goes into it here in a minute. I don't remember what year it was, but remember when almost everybody could see the aurora that one year? Like it was, I don't know if it was 2018 or when it was, but like you didn't have to be like in Canada or whatever to see the aurora.
Yeah. I remember it was a lot of things going on around those years. Like, remember when the seas receded for like a day or something really weird, and then they stopped talking about it. They showed where the seas receded. You could just see the ocean, the bottom, the floor, the bed of the
Like
ocean.
an unnatural receding. Like it wasn't a
Yeah.
normal time.
It wasn't normal. It lasted at least a day or more. Remember, everybody? It was like 2010 or something weird. Something was going on. And they gaslit us to feel like, hey, nothing to see here, everybody. What's the Kardashians doing today? You know?
Give me a beer. Give me my beaker.
Exactly.
But this statement from Nikola Tesla, this is where, in my mind, it leads me with the aurora and the other events that are happening in the sky more frequently. I believe a lot of this stuff is being tested, and some of this is actually are signs showing the not so nice people that all of this technology is not only in existence, but it is functioning. We have the ability to use it now. Actually, this sounds like music you'd hear at Fresh Market or something.
When you get off the bus or the whatever, the plane, and you're in the Bahamas, and they're starting to give you a little fruity drink
Right.
with
Yeah, I'm on. So it was October 30th, 2021 was when the Northern Lights happened. Or the ability to see it in places that you normally couldn't see it. That's what it was. This is one of the parts I found interesting. Somebody named Sky Vista Photo Steve Luther. He states, well, I've never seen blue aurora before, but there it was this morning. Actually got almost all the colors of the rainbow in this one from northern Wisconsin. The blue is what caught my attention. And you notice whenever they're like trying to cover a narrative or they're trying to build up to something, because this was in 2021, and at the height of the whole BS pandemic thing. You notice how they always throw out solar flares, like when like the possibility that, hey Erica, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Erica's going to be on the show one of these days.
Nice.
Just FYI.
Hi there, Erica.
She has a channel on Rumble called Fraudlewski. And
what's that? A channel
on Rumble that it's called Fraudlewski.
Fraudlewski. What is that?
Yeah.
Fraudlewski.
I don't want to say too much on this channel because of course it's YouTube, but if anybody knows who Phil Godlewski is
I've heard that name.
We'll call it the Truther movement.
Okay.
I know. I and Erica are of the same opinion as well as many thousands of others that he is.
Okay.
He's a grifter. He's a grifter. We'll just put it that way. But her videos, when I need a good laugh, I watch her whatever video she posts for the day. It's like 5 or 6 minutes long or whatever, and with sound effects and everything. They're awesome.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, she's one of the good guys, one of the good people. She calls out BS when she sees it. So hopefully she doesn't say anything about this show.
I'm gonna stay on your good side, Erica. Okay.
But whenever the cabal tries to push a narrative or tries to hide something or deflect, they always use solar flare. They use that a lot. I put on my Telegram channel, I post it every time they use, like, for example, when the whole when that federal judge in Texas stopped the mask mandates for airlines and that kind of stuff. Suddenly, like the next day, somebody was saying, "Oh, there's these, I can't remember what they called them, solar flares possibly going to hit this week or yada yada yada." They're always talking about it could take down the internet or it could take down communications or they always preface what they project. They preface what they are actually going to do at some point. Like if they can't control the narrative, we're just going to take everything down. We're just so you can't see anything or hear anything from anybody. So anyway, that's what I found interesting about this, because the mainstream news said that the aurora could be seen as far south as like Idaho and that kind of stuff because of a solar flare. It's always about a solar flare.
It's so absurd at this point.
It is absurd. Oh, Erica, just FYI, I don't know if you followed Jetson White or have watched any of his videos. I'm literally playing his newest, like we're doing a watch party kind of thing because it lines up with something I was thinking about the other day about time travel and that kind of stuff. So we're literally watching this video and we're just making comments and that kind of stuff. So you're pretty much caught up now. And you've been there, right, Jennifer? We talked about this last show. You've been to the Great Pyramids, inside the Great Pyramids.
Yeah, inside of those and like all through some other areas, down in the catacombs in Alexandria. Like, yeah, that region is very interesting.
And I think I made this point too before all this. I knew this video was coming out. That one of the theories that I believed was that these were resonating chambers. Like some of these massive chambers that were under the pyramids, weren't burial chambers because they didn't look like burial chambers, and they were, to me, they were used for another purpose. And resonating chamber is one of those things that is a possibility to me.
Well, that's also, John, what I've come to. I'm open to looking into it also being, okay, now we're going back to Nimrod, Gilgamesh, or you can call him Osiris and all of the other names. It's all the same entity. So I look at Gilgamesh as the architect for, or archetype for an antichrist in a sense. Like, you know, he's going against what Christ has set out as a plan. So it's like, inside of one of the, I don't know if it's Cheops, but one of those pyramids on the Giza plateau, there was a chamber that was off to the side, and that was where they have reported allegedly is that's where the body of Gilgamesh was kept. Even though people may think that's part of the trick bag, is they want us to look at Egypt, Babylon, everything as all chopped up, but it's the same. Like I was saying, I like the way the person said it's the same hive, and they send out the same, you know, bees out of the same hive, but they change the names around of the people groups and tribes and everything. But Gilgamesh is just given a name through the culture in which, you know, they're describing him. But that's something that I have been playing around with, the idea that they literally had his body in one of the great pyramids on the Giza plateau, and they had a resurrection chamber for him to resurrect again. That's where this whole thing of like bringing Gilgamesh back, wanting his DNA, is something to this whole thing, because the Egyptians were obsessed with coming back. So you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, to put that out on the table for us, you know, to think about. Maybe.
There's a lot of cultures that had that. Egypt was probably the most at the forefront of most people's minds, but I believe there's South American cultures that have that concept as well. I'm not sure about Asian cultures 100%. But I do know that as far as having the availability of information before the internet, like Egypt was kind of the one that you thought about when you would think about resurrection or afterlife, or the thought of the continuation of your journey, the continuation of your life, you know, putting all your belongings. And I believe that in some cases that if you were of royalty, they would actually put your servants, they would mummify your servants and that kind of stuff and send them with you into the afterlife.
Yeah, that's true. They would
imagine being one of those servants.
Oh yeah, they would volunteer. I learned that, you know,
Yes.
if the man had concubines, so all the concubines were, you know, being sacrificed.
Hey.
All the hoes gotta go, right?
Hey,
And all
we're
his
going to the underworld.
Yeah, all of his hoes, all his gold all around. He's coming back. He's gonna have his chicks with him. It's like, okay, this is all interesting. I'm just gonna say, I am just marinating on some things, because it looks different now. I have to say, it looks different to me looking back retrospectively from 2022. This is fascinating.
Yeah, and I stand on this idea that, and I think it's becoming more obvious to more people, that a lot of things have been withheld from us. Our education is lacking a lot of real history, I guess is the phrase I want to use. So as we continue on and we start this revelation process and we start unveiling parts of our history that were hidden from us, and start unveiling all these lies and all these secrets and all this nonsense that's been going on, basically used as a control, you know, used to keep the population pliable and being able to manipulate them. Jeez, I'm having a hard time with that. Manipulate them. Sounds like Austin Powers or something, like manipulate them. Laser. So if you dumb down the population and you give them the narrative and don't think, so if you make a population unable to think for themselves or discourage thinking for yourself. Because think about all the stuff that was presented, even at a young age in school and on the news and on these programs and programming. I like to use that word because that's what it is, programming.
Yeah.
You were given the information as if it were like, here you go. You don't need to research anymore. This is all you need to know. These are the facts. And
Don't
move
question.
on with your life,
Right.
and wait till the next show until we give you spoon feed you a little bit more information. And I've said this many times, they've made it hard for people to question things because they made the norm, by the time World War II ended, they made the norm. You had to work, or you had to go to school, you had to work, had to have kids, rinse, repeat. And by the time television came around, and you started seeing things on the boob tube, that occupied a lot of people's free time after work. Like people would sit around the dinner table and maybe watch television, or that kind of thing. Usually, like what we did, we'd talk about the day, like school, that kind of stuff. But it was never questioning anything. It was just like, what were we doing personally for the day? And then by the time dinner's over and you watch like my dad would watch Archie Bunker and Hee Haw and all that other stuff. I had to do my homework and go to bed. And so it was like the next day, go to school, learn whatever's in the textbook, play soccer or whatever, recess.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's at work. And as time went on, your dad and mom probably were working. So it was like a constant cycle of, you would try to break that cycle by doing something like going to McDonald's or go to the movies or go on vacation, or it was never questioning anything.
Right.
And
Yeah. You did it like mindlessly because it became like what you're describing, a routine, and it's hard to break out of it unless you were very future inspired in terms of like you were reading the writing on the wall. And that would be the people that people laughed at them. They were prepping. They were, getting prepared for some event. They didn't know what the event was, when, but they just knew that it's smart and prudent to prepare for some things that you might not expect in your lifetime, because we're seeing all kinds of weird signs. But, some people, they began to leave the cities, they began to leave their jobs and move up to rural places, even out of New York. I have like family that lives up in upstate New York, and you go up there and you're like, this place is
Sleepy
amazing.
Hollow.
Yeah, it's like beautiful though. It's like, and then you go outside of California and some places it's like, wow, it's just so rural. So some people chose to become rural and get off the grid, as they say. So those are the people like that homestead and all that kind of stuff. They knew that something, they needed to get out of that routine like you described. That sounds like my life. It's like rinse and repeat. You go to school, you sit at the dinner table. At least, I grew up, we sat at the dinner table. You talk about only things from what Walter Cronkite or whatever is saying, right? Because if like it,
Or Barbara Wawa.
yeah, I was told you're a Democrat and we watch the news and we respect these authorities right here, these guys that look like they have the brill in their hair and ties. And, it was hard to break out of the cycle. And that was just so planned. And I'm just seeing some real things right now. And we have to sort out who is who, because this is very deceptive, these times we're in, and we have to test the spirits and see what are these spirits professing? What's the spirit behind it all? Like, what's the ultimate like game plan here? Are we going outside of God's plan? Are we doing our own thing? Like, man, like that's my concern right now, I have to say honestly. Like, I'm getting a little concerned because as I studied Nimrod and Gilgamesh and all these people and the Tower of Babel, and a lot of people think this is like gonna show up the same way, but like they're playing around with DNA. They got us thinking that we live on some orb or something because of NASA. They've been caught at lie after lie after lie. So I'm just thinking, like, it's just interesting. I'm just going to say I am really interested in like what you're doing right now, revisiting these things, because I feel like they're trying to bring, if they didn't bring old Gil back yet, because I believe that those pyramids are lined up as like almost a runway to come back in.
That's how Jennifer feels right now.
That's how I feel. That's me. I'm like, what the heck, everybody? Is this really what we're doing? Is this what we're doing right now? Have we not learned? Like, we're really like repeating these like cycles of humanity where we want to do everything outside of Jah, like his plan. I don't know. I'm gonna just put that on the table, that I'm just like a little bit like, time out, everyone. What's going on? Did they bring Gilgamesh back? Did they? It's like look, the way they're lined up, it's like a runway. It's like a portal. Gilgamesh, they're up to something, everybody.
Yeah, there's a reason why they have a lot of rituals and that kind of stuff. That's why the reason why we could do a whole show just on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right. The rituals, they go, listen, when I was talking about Cusco, Peru, and like those, okay, inside the stone, they have those old doorways. The people go out and it looks beautiful, because I was really caught up in that kind of stuff at one time. It's like, oh, we're going out, we're going to have candles. It's at night. We're going to be in Jordan. Okay. We're going to, what's the Petra? Like, or, right there in Peru, they go and have ceremonies at night and they are praying to bring through ancient spirits through those portals. So they've been bringing jokers through those portals, everybody. It looked all pretty. We thought they were out there like singing and had candles, but they're bringing jokers through the doors of those rocks and stuff. That's why everything's gone haywire. Like, you've been wondering, like, have you been wondering, like, what the heck happens? Like, the bottom just like dropped out of this whole thing. You got kids, a little boy in drag. He's on a major ABC or something. What is the Disney own? Is that CBS or ABC?
I don't know.
They had a little boy. He was only 9 or 11, and he's a drag queen. And he was joking about taking drugs. They had him like right on one of those major shows, this little boy. And he looks like he's drugged up. And you're like, why are we not going crazy about stuff like that? So you have to wonder, something just happened. It shifted where evilness is just unbound to a degree. Like, yeah. I'm just saying, like, something, they've been tampering with some stuff. So jokers to the left of me, jokers to the right of me. Julie, they've been bringing some jokers through, Julie. We gotta get into some spiritual warfare. Send them jokers right back through those doors and those rocks. Y'all have gotta go back. You're getting out of here. Me and John and the Chatmosphere, we're sending you back.
That's I'm trying to find an image here since you're already talking about it. You know how I am. I'm just since we're already off the subject, we'll just continue really quick. Where is it?
John is so chatty, right? We're trying to do a go through it. Oh my gosh. Like, does that not look like everything that I've been researching about these devil people? And he's wearing everything all in one outfit. Dang, that dude is wicked. That is a wicked dude. Wow.
So,
wow.
With that being said, but yes, this is, I 100% agree. This is a spiritual battle, and the I'm not going to come out and say necessarily people are evil. I think they're being influenced by evil,
Right.
which makes them, you know.
No, you're right. It is you're
Um,
right. I need that reminder, John, that we're fighting against principalities. You know,
yes, and
we're given the tools though, but we don't have to do all these. Don't you love that we don't have to do all these rituals? I'm gonna tell you, rituals take a lot of like, look, I told you all my testimony. I used to do these rituals and I was into my Santeria and all that, having an altar. It's so exhausting, everyone. Who wants to do all those rituals? Gosh, the devil really wants you to do too much stuff. Listen, it's easier. I'm just going with Jah. I'm choosing Jesus. He doesn't make me do all these rituals. Gosh.
but the symbolism is everywhere, literally.
It really is.
And I mean, in plain sight, it's amazing. Let's see if I have last sec here. See if I have it spelled right.
It's fascinating. Oh, here you go. The Baffity Boo. That's what Keegan calls it. Do you all know about Keegan? John, she calls this the Baffity Boo.
Statues like this are all over the world in prominent places, including Masonic temples. Always with children.
Yeah.
Standing next to Baphomet. Always with children.
Yep. They're after the kids.
This imagery is all over the globe.
Yeah.
Literally.
They had
people walk by it literally every day, and it's kind of not a big deal to some people.
No, they think it's, cute. It was down in Texas, John, when they were having the battle with the abortion. That guy went down there and he had it set up, the Baffity Boo right there. Serious.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Get on to a higher vibration here. Here we go.
What did Erica say?
This is HRC is at the Met Gala.
Is that tonight, Erica? Are they having that Met Gala? I never keep up with that. Oh gosh, she went to the Met Gala. What's the theme this year? Baphomet? Because they have a theme every year. Maybe it's Baphomet. Baffity Boo. You're at the Met Gala. HRC's there.
All right.
Yikes.
Moving on. We're going to raise the vibration a little bit here. Erica said just saw Elon with his mom.
At the Met thing too? Well, his mom, I didn't realize. I was playing a fashion show one day and they were like, that's Elon Musk's mom. She was a model at one time.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's really big in like the fashion world.
Did not know that.
I didn't know either. People pointed it out. I was like, wow. Well, that makes sense if he's at the Met Gala with his mom.
Oh, jeez. You're going to make me bust out some Elon memes now or something.
I know you have probably a lot.
Well, let's see.
I haven't done anything on Elon. I haven't done any deep dives on him. I don't know why. Just something I don't know. We'll see. Might. Just as
That is what it is. You don't have to like the dude.
Yeah, no, just as I said, it has to be about like the connect. Like, I don't know sometimes what I'm going to do. I pray and like ask what's going to be my next thing. And then it just starts happening, the process, But Elon hasn't come up as a dive yet, I'll say.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video because we're about the halfway mark.
Oh,
just remember the resonating chamber at Giza. We'll stop there, and I'm going to go into my folder that has some time travel stuff.
Yay! This is awesome. I love that.
OBS looks like. This is what OBS looks like. There you go.
Oh, that's what OBS. Oh, I've never used it. Yeah. So we can do a part 2, right, John? Of this. That sounds.
We'll do a part 2, but I'll dive into some of the stuff I have in my own folder and add to what we're talking about, because I know we're getting the glossy-eyed thing over the rapture event. So, but that's a small part of that video. There's some really detailed information towards the end of that video that I think everybody should know about. Literally everybody should know about. Theme is gilded glamour, according to Erica. Gilded
glamour. That's interesting. So it's like going back to, look at that. Look at how they're going back to the 30s, right? The 20s and 30s when the Industrial Revolution. Oh, see, I bet I'm going to see something interesting. Gilded glamour. That's when the robber barons, that's when they formed the Federal Reserve during the Gilded Glamour era.
There's
interesting, Erica. Very interesting.
All right, here is one of the things I was referring about earlier.
That's so nice.
I gotta get me a beaker.
Yes. Both have beakers like that. Cheers.
Everybody should have one. Have a watch party with a beaker. In 1943, when Nikola Tesla passed away, the Office of Alien Property swooped in and stole everything. Tesla's notes, letters, diagrams, schematics, everything that should legally have gone to his nephew, Sava Kosanovich, the U.S. government filched. I love that word. You don't hear that word a lot. Filched.
We need to.
If I would have known that word in high school, I probably would have used filched a lot.
Yeah, I like that. Bring it back. Bring that word back.
Filched. Hashtag filched. Gotta send it to Elon. Hashtag filched. Get it going.
Let's make it happen, Shaq.
That's right. But they didn't have the knowledge to know what they had. So the FBI needed someone techie to go through all of Tesla's papers and report back to them, supposedly to keep any weapon designs from falling into the wrong hands. Government always uses that excuse. Well, this is dangerous technology. It could be used as a weapon. We don't know. So we're taking it. So supposedly to keep away any weapons designs from falling into the wrong hands. After all, this was 1943 and World War II was in full swing. And this is where things get really interesting. They chose an MIT electrical engineering professor to review Tesla's papers. His name was Dr. John Trump. And I brought that connection up earlier. That's right. President Donald John Trump's uncle was the first and perhaps only person to see all of Tesla's papers before they were classified and disappeared. And he talked openly to his nephew what he had seen. You get to have goosebumps yet? I do, and we're just getting started. Remember who his nephew is? 45th president. Oh, there's a connection to the time travel part. I found this extremely interesting when this first came out. And if all this doesn't completely creep you out, here's something that ties the concept of time to the name Trump. I present to you the Ingersoll Trump pocket watch. This is from that time period from Ingersoll. If you notice, it has the word Trump underneath it there on this one on the left here. And this one was called the Trump. And this had a maker's mark, trademark on the top here, made in the USA. Of course, it's made in the USA. So again, there's that word tied with that time period. Let me go back to this. And these things are I'm quoting from the person I was talking about earlier, the author, Lenora Thompson. And this is her blog here. It's lenorathompsonwriter.com. Okay. And she did an article called Tesla Meets Trump Meets Q. Can Q see the future? Come on, we're all thinking it. And so she wrote an article about this. So some of this I'm actually taking directly from that article. Mm-hmm. The experiments of Tesla in high voltage electricity along with magnetic fields, writes Sean Adel-Tabab. What is with these names? Like in my morning show, I keep reading, like all these names are either Polish or Ukrainian or Russian or Chinese or whatever. Nobody has a simple name. So I'll just say Sean. We'll just say Sean.
There you go. I
led to him discovering that time and space may be deformed to essentially create a door that may lead to another time. Tesla told a reporter he was in contact with the resonance from the electromagnetic charge. He had found that he went out of his space and time window, he said that he had been able to see the past, the present, and the future at the very same time. That was in 1895. There's the 1800s again.
Yeah.
Then in 1943, the Philadelphia experiment occurred, thoroughly debunked, of course, which launched sailors not only through space, but also time. Then there was the Montauk Project 71 through 83, which included time travel. There is reference to a 1960s Navy technology that could be used to view a visual scene from any historical period. And again, it reappears in 1989 when Area 51 whistleblower Bob Lazar, if you don't know who Bob is, Bob's a unique character, but he's got some interesting things. He's been blowing the whistle since the 70s or 60s. Project Looking Glass. Let's see. Sadly, they allegedly use homeless children in their experiments, sending them through the portals of time, which may also partially explain how 500,000 children go missing in the United States every year. So I don't know about that, but we already talked about this at one point. I think in our last video, I took you guys to the Ingersoll Lockwood website.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the author. Ingersoll Lockwood is the author of Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey and those other books. Mm-hmm. And again, all this stuff has to do with time travel, that kind of stuff. New York lawyer and author Ingersoll Lockwood, 1841 through 1918, would probably have continued to rest in peace if patriots hadn't rediscovered his books when Donald Trump became president. In 1889, he wrote Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. Who do we know that has a kid named Baron? Number 45. His son's named Baron. Mm-hmm. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. And this was written in 1889. Let's see. So, relating the exploration of Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Tromp, as it's spelled, Troomp, commonly called Little Baron Trump, guided by a document written by Don, in quotes, with illustrations that look shockingly like the president's son, Baron William Trump. The boy and the illustration have the same distinctive Trump pout. Then in 1896, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote 1900, or The Last President, which I think I showed you in the last show, detailing how a political outsider overcomes stiff opposition to be elected president of the United States. He then appoints, get this, Olaf Pence as Secretary of Agriculture while a mob attacks the hotel on Fifth Avenue. Silver increases in value only to become worthless, and ultimately someone blows up the Capitol dome, God forbid. Supposedly someone on 8Con, which was the board for Q originally, that Tesla and Lockwood lived within walking distance of each other. So you had that Ingersoll Lockwood living within walking distance. You had John Trump living within walking distance. And then, of course, you had Nikola Tesla at the New Yorker. But this is what still blows me away today about the whole time travel thing, or the idea of it. And number 45 was that one of the appointees in this book that was written in 1896, that one of the people close to Trump was Pence. This was in a book from 1896. Who was number 45's vice president? Pence. Again, this was in a book written in 1896 with somebody named Baron Trump. This just absolutely just blows me away. But it's still, to this day, it does. I don't know why, it just does.
Yeah, it's really these 1800s. I'm really beginning to get a more clear picture of what could have happened. Like, there are a lot of theories about it. It's very fascinating, but something clearly happened with the population of the world realm and the technologies in terms of the Industrial Revolution. Some reset happened in the world. It's pretty clear to me that it was some sort of event that caused some kind of cataclysm. And now I'm looking at all this stuff in a different way. It's just really Like now, before when I was into all like looking at all this stuff, I didn't have all this research done about the 1800s, and I didn't understand how badly history has been manipulated. I always knew it was, but I thought it was like little things here and there, but I didn't know it was like to the degree. Yeah.
It's still, that's why I love doing the show. There's so much to explore. I mean, there's like literally endless, because we really don't know a whole lot. So we have a lot of stuff, like a pool to pull from, a lot of these concepts. And sorry, Erica, I didn't see you leave. I didn't realize that. So if you are watching this again in the future, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. Looking forward to one.
Yeah, if you get a chance, I'm gonna give her a little shout out here. She does just like Jennifer. She does a lot of digging, but primarily focuses on one of my least favorite people, which is cool.
This guy you mentioned earlier, like the whatever.
Such a grifter. He's a grifter. If anybody knows the term grifter, he literally is a gaslighter in our own movement.
What?
The guy just completely fabricates things out of thin air. Like in the early part of this, he would come out in his lives. He would say things people would want to hear because that's what people wanted to hear at the time. They wanted that, like that Phil was telling them the truth. Like, if you follow me, you're going to know what's going on, what's really going on. Like he claimed he was he called it the five. It was always in some of his videos, he was like going off. He'd get a phone call and he'd be like, it would be his group. Like he kind of made it sound like he was part of the Q group. And like, he was like one of the first Anons, as we had a whole episode on how he was one of the first Anons, one of the five, as he called it. Oh. And he couldn't give away anybody else's name and all this other stuff and yada, yada. And he would jet around the country to all these secret meetings with the five and all this other stuff. And he would just make these ludicrous claims about stuff to get people to watch his show. At one time, he had like 300,000 followers or something like that, some crazy number. So I just got tired of listening to him because, like, how could anybody be watching this? But slowly but surely, people started figuring him out.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But Erica posts videos now, and she dissects the videos. And
I see. But you say it's on Rumble? That's where it is?
Yeah, I'm going to actually hold on a second.
Sure? Oh,
you can see I don't do this for a living because I've made a total of $7.31 from Rumble.
Oh, wow. I've never made anything on Rumble.
There it is.
0. You're doing
like
good.
I said, here's the channel. It's just Phil Fraudlewski. But he puts the clips together to show you this is what he said and this is what he said the next day or the next week or whatever, like totally contradicting everything.
Okay.
Like he was when the snake venom thing, people are getting worried about in the water and stuff like that. Yada yada yada.
I missed that whole thing, by the way.
I don't even want to get into it, but anyway, long story short, a chiropractor, Dr. Artis, basically was saying that he found a connection between the proteins and the venom of cobras, yada, yada. They were being found in people that were dying from COVID or something to that effect. But so anyway, long story short, he was saying that if you buy these particular filters, like Seychelles, I think is the brand, that you'll be protected. So he had a deal with Seychelles, like one of his buddies worked there or something like that. So he sold like $1 million worth of these water filters, these bottles, these water filters.
Are you serious?
And Seychelles came out and blasted him. They said, "We'd never told you that it protected against snake venom," or So they said you need. So they said you need to like ixnay the whole. So Seychelles put out a formal statement saying we do not. Our product does not protect and he protects you against snake venom in the water. Like the filter is not like
They
that.
had to make a comment, the
So
company.
they had to give a refund to everybody that wanted one. So
Are
Phil
you serious?
lost out on all this money that he had. So he literally like the next video, he was like flipping the camera off and stuff like that because he was mad at Seychelles, like calling them assholes or whatever.
Oh my
It's
God.
like, it's not their fault you made up this crap and that, you know, people believed you. Seychelles never said this about their filters.
Oh my gosh. He got in trouble with the company. Oh, he was
Yeah,
selling
and he
water
had to
filters.
give back all this money.
Oh my gosh. He did. He had to give back the money. Where have I
Yeah.
been? Oh no, I really have been in the research holes because I didn't know any of this. Like I heard people talking about snake venom, but I didn't know what it was. Like, what's this? It has to do with this guy, Phil guy. Josephine said that is really.
Jeez.
She wants me to pick her up. She'll be at my feet. She wants me to pick her up. Josephine, it's okay.
So here's the channel
You could be at,
right here.
oh, this is
Phil Fraudlewski.
oh no, this is
Like
the this is
Erica's channel.
Erica's channel. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Now.
This is the calling out the BS channel. So and like she actually is part of a channel that goes and they all watch his lives and they literally criticize him live on air. Like they're like,
No
like
way.
hundreds of people get in his chat.
Are you kidding?
And-
From his lives, they do this?
Yes. And Erica was on there asking him if he could speak Mandarin, and he like kicked her off the chat, you know, because he couldn't answer the question.
What? Where is this? Where did this all happens on Rumble, like his lives and everything too?
Yeah, but this is Erica herself in the chat. So listen.
In the chat? Are you kidding? Where have I been?
Come on, here we go.
I didn't know any of this was going on.
How do I know Erica Freedom? I don't know Erica Freedom.
He
On my Rumble channel.
He's mentioning
Yeah,
her.
sorry, I was talking in Mandarin.
Well, that's all of her videos start with that statement.
Oh,
because-
they start with that?
Yes, because
You gotta be kidding. Erica, you're hilarious. Okay. Wait, she has a soundbite of him mentioning
Yes.
her. Are you
Yep.
serious? This
I don't
is
know
like
Erica
trolling
Freedom.
on another
She's a
level.
troll on my Rumble channel.
No way. He said
Yeah, scary. I was talking in Mandarin to someone on the phone out here. Scary.
Erica.
That's true.
And was it not true? Tell him.
It was true.
It was true. Mandarin. So no, it wasn't a Chinese somebody either before you guys. Oh, he's a Chinese diplomat. No, I had to. I didn't want her to know what we were talking about. So
So since you haven't had a high IQ, according to this confirmation membership, can you speak Mandarin right now?
what would you like me to say in Mandarin?
Now, just say right now, I scored 148 for my test.
On what?
Well, first of all, the phrase IQ test doesn't exist in
Just
Mandarin.
say speak in Mandarin.
You want me to say anything at all in Mandarin?
Okay, don't keep doing it so you can try to look up some phrases. Just speak in
Yeah,
Mandarin.
because I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit here
Can you speak in Mandarin?
simultaneously and look up something in Mandarin.
I wouldn't put it past you.
Why wouldn't you put it past me, though?
Can you speak in Mandarin, yes or no?
Just tell me what you want me to say, but tell me something that actually exists.
Anything.
Tell me something that exists in the language, and I'll try to say it for you.
Anything.
Oh my God. She's catching him.
Any phrase at all. How about what?
Oh my God. This is funny.
Are you there?
I'm waiting for you to speak anything in Mandarin. You're taking up a lot of time now.
Oh,
What do you want me to say? I'm asking
Oh
you
my
what you
goodness.
want
So
me
you
to
can't
say.
speak Mandarin. So you can't speak Mandarin. Okay.
Okay, you're right. I can't speak Mandarin, Erica. Okay? I'm asking you what you want me to say.
I caught you in that. You can't speak Mandarin.
All right. So I see what you're doing here. Okay? I see what you're doing, and I think everybody else sees what you're doing too. You want to be right so bad about
Say,
everything that
say
you're
trust
saying.
the plan. Say trust the plan in Mandarin.
I don't think I can.
Wow.
Say the
Plan.
plan. Say
Hold on.
everything is okay. Say hello. How are you doing today? My name is Phil. Say that.
That's like basic.
Phil in Mandarin is Phil.
Phil.
Did he claim to speak?
They
Mandarin?
are.
He
They
claimed
are.
You don't say your name.
Okay, stand. So you can't speak Mandarin. That's all you have to say is I can't speak Mandarin.
That's how she used Google Translate to say his name in Mandarin while that's the cuts I was talking about that she does.
He's hilarious. Wait a minute. Are you kidding? Did he claim to know how to
Okay, so
speak it?
so you can't speak Mandarin. That's all you have to say is I can't speak Mandarin.
Oh my God. And she called him.
They are.
You don't say your name in a different.
Okay,
in a
so you
different
can't speak Mandarin. That's all you have to say is I can't speak Mandarin.
In the way that you're framing it, no, I cannot. Because
Wow.
you have a basic understanding of how complex the language of Mandarin is, number one. Number two, the last time I spoke Mandarin was when I was in Hawaii, when I was 19 years old.
You'd ask Carrie. I was talking in Mandarin to someone on the phone out here. Carrie was around.
That's true.
And, is it not true? Tell him.
It was true.
It was true. Mandarin. So oh, it wasn't a Chinese somebody either before you guys. Oh, he's a Chinese diplomat. No, I had to. I didn't want her to know what we were talking about. So
He's such a fraud. It's like
That's
this is the one where he's pissed off at Seychelles.
Oh, that company. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah. This has all been going on.
Sorry, this will be the last one, folks. You want to watch his videos, or Erica's videos.
Before in the past, many years of my career, put up to Seychelles. I don't know Erica Freedom. She's a troll on my Rebel channel. Put up to Seychelles here, Todd and I, and lawyered up. I talked to a lawyer earlier today, and lawyered up. And
just FYI, he uses that phrase on almost every video that he lawyered up.
Are you serious? He uses that?
I swear to God, lately he's had to use that lawyered up phrase a lot.
Gosh, that is so obnoxious. You gotta be kidding me. This guy,
He's about as lawyered up as I am.
Josephine is my lawyer.
Whack, man. I just found this fun, man. I understand it's like positive no good, man. Be kind, be tapping that man.
We did nothing wrong and went through that whole process. But you know what that's gonna do? That's gonna tie up your 1.2 million in time. What's that gonna take, a week before we could do order fulfillment, start processing and shipping? Just not having it. So it's easier for me to do this to Seychelles and to Carl, the owner.
Yeah.
And to every single person in that company that hears my voice.
He did not.
It's amazing.
Because you guys are pathetic excuses for human beings for doing what you did. And
The Seychelles are pathetic excuses for human beings for telling the truth, that their filters don't work for snake venom. And he's the one that told his people that it does work for snake venom.
This has really been a thing. Like this.
Yes, I swear to God, this is a thing.
And he sold the filters based on this, and now he's mad at the what?
Yeah, like $1.2 million worth.
That's really how much he sold.
That's how much he has people snowed right now.
I'm shocked. Now that is shocking, everybody.
and I'm pissed. And you could have helped a lot of people here, and instead you turned your back and you put down a political foot, and you tried to say, "Oh well, we're not associated with QAnons." Here, associate this.
Is he serious? This can't be real.
This is bullshit. to treat these people, my followers, these hardworking people who most of which don't have the money to spend on a filter, but they spend it anyway, and to tell them that you don't want to service them, it's disgusting. And,
He doesn't even look like he believes what he's saying. What is going on here?
I've done this so many times in the past, many years in my career, lied to them. I know this process. I've been very well trained on it. Blah, 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 blah. Say what you gotta say, right? Get them in the door. So if that sounds grab, okay, maybe you don't belong here. But this is what we do.
Are you kidding me? This guy, wait a minute.
There you go. There's a taste.
Where did he come from? Everybody, you all know about this guy. Like, where? How did I not know about him? Like, really, where is he from? Like, what did he? When did he come here? What? Who brought him?
He was early on in the movement. Like,
Was?
You remember when? Yeah, you remember when?
I don't. He's so new. Like this stuff here. I've never watched him.
Yeah, he's. I caught on to him early in this whole process, like probably a year or so ago, and
okay. Oh, so he has been around.
He kept just under the radar for a while because he was trying to ride piggyback with people like he would publicly call out people like Scott McKay and those guys, calling them frauds and that kind of stuff, and that they were cabal puppets or taking cabal money to to gain followers and that kind of stuff. So he was
started out calling people out. You're saying he started doing that?
And he flat out came out and said that basically, because you know how in the beginning of all this, a lot of people were like eager for information, like they want to know what's going on, like what's happening, what's
No, I understand.
remember when Prime would always have his shows on, and well, you were on his shows, so
yeah,
I
know. I was desperate for information too, so I get it, like totally.
So it was the same kind of idea. You had a big personality, and then once a few people started spreading the word, hey, this guy's got, and I hated this word when I first heard this, because a lot of people in the movement used it early on, the word intel. People use the word intel.
I'm over the word intel. You know what it reminds me of, John, and chat? Tell me if I'm off. This is me, my personal opinion. When I hear that word intel now, I hear, remember it says in the scripture that they will chase after what they want to hear with tickling ears. They want to hear messages that tickle their ears. That's what whenever I hear intel, I think
it's
of
the buzzword. Yep, that's
me.
like
I want to hear what I want. I want to hear what's going to confirm everything that I want to believe. I don't want to hear anything bad. Don't be a doomer. Don't be a black pillar. And then you hear this. I know that they had these debates over hopium and whatever.
Yeah, right.
A lot of us.
But see, people like Phil, they would latch on to that word, that intel, that that buzzword. And that's how Phil got a lot of his early followers, because he would advertise on his channel.
Oh, intel.
Like so-and-so intel release or intel drop or whatever. Right. So he started picking up thousands of followers. I mean, at one time, like I said, it was like some crazy number. And the first couple of videos I ever saw that he did, he was so out in left field. Like his act was just so over the top, especially the whole cloak and dagger thing. Like he would mute his microphone and answer the phone, like pretend like he was answering the phone, like some secret society, his other, 5 Anon friends or his Q buddies or whatever.
That's like high school. He would pack up. Oh, God.
Yeah, he would pack up. He would walk as he was talking, and with his camera phone, and he would be packing a suitcase on his bed. He'd be at the airport, like he was like trying to show people like it was legit, like getting out of his car at the airport, in the lobby at the airport, and yada yada yada. And, people bought it hook, line, and sinker for the longest time. So after about 8 or 9 months of that, he started polarizing his followers because people started seeing through his bullshit, especially people that really like myself that are friends with Scott McKay and like that have done shows with him and have that know him, like know what kind of person he is, started seeing the BS kind of thing come out, like especially when you started attacking legit people in the movement, you know, like Dave over at X22, and you had Scott, you have
He was attacking
Mel
all
K.
He was
Yeah, I mean, all these people were grifters to him, and he was like the grift daddy elite because he had started early on. He started his own like online store, like it was called Philizon. Philizon was his store, his online. So he'd direct people like, hey, if you're a patriot, you gotta, you know, quit buying stuff from Walmart. So you had to buy it from Philizon and all this other stuff. And there's all these grifter things going on, you know.
What did he sell at Philizon? Is that like Amazon? Did he have books and stuff? Like, did he have an Amazon?
No, there was just some like product. I think he was selling like Melaleuca products or something like that or whatever, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was, I remember it may even still be called Philizon on his website. But
wow, that's crazy.
But then like some days he would claim like just outrageous claims. Like if you watch Erica's videos, it literally, she touches on every outrageous claim he's ever done. Like all her videos, like literally side by side comparisons of the crap that he says and what it actually is, you know, and it just goes down the list. So
he made an enemy in her, huh? Oh my gosh, she got him.
But I love Erica for that because she's one of the few people that's just calling out bullshit, you know, calling people out.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
So,
wow.
Kudos to her and her. She's got a little group of people that she's. I shouldn't say little. It's actually a big group. I think it's called Savage Dog. Was one of the Telegram channels, and he has like thousands of followers.
Yeah, I've heard of him on Telegram. Yeah.
Savage Dog is big, and Erica's part of that group, and so they'll do lives. They'll do lives on Telegram, and they'll, like I said, they'll do a watch party of Phil's newest live. Like so, they'll be jumping in the chat and blowing up the chat, you know. And
so this is going on Telegram, not Rumble. Telegram.
Actually, on Rumble and Telegram, like they'll do like a watch party kind of thing, and then they'll have their own little hangout kind of thing, and they'll talk about it. They won't be in the Rumble chat, but some days they'll actually do the live and watch and comment in the chat, you know. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious. See, Leanne, I got in really late, but I wanted to hop in and say hi. Well, thanks, Leanne.
Yes, hello.
Yes. Casey, I have Scott's back too, so just FYI. There's a few what I call grifters out there, and
I see.
I love it. I love Erica's channel because it makes me laugh. It literally, because seeing it edited and stuff, it's just so insane. It's just so insane.
He's good at it.
God bless Erica and everybody else from Savage Dog and everybody else that's debunking this dude.
Wow.
So I would play like, I don't think it'll kick me off YouTube for it, but I'm gonna play a meme. As you know, I do a memes of the week every Saturday on my channel. I'll collect all my memes from the week in a folder, and then I'll just create a memes of the week kind of thing. So I'll play one to head out kind of thing, and I'll make a couple closing comments, and then Jennifer will make some comments, and then next week we'll pick it up halfway through the video and continue on the time travel thing, because there's some important things towards the end of that video. Not so much the rapture event, but there's some other things in there I think, even if you don't believe them, I think are important to understand in the world context right now. So so I'm going to play this. You see my folder's getting a little full now, so
put your drink down.
Yeah, put your drink down just in case.
Warn us. Tell us to put our drinks down.
I'm going to need to go ahead and move you downstairs into storage B.
First of all, this is assuming that you've seen the movie Office Space.
Yes, and the Oh
Just saying, if you haven't seen the movie Office Space, you won't get this. So,
such a funny movie.
but if you have seen the movie Office Space, you will 100% get it, and it's appropriate for the times. That's all I got to say.
We need to go ahead and move you downstairs into storage B.
No,
We
I was told I
have
could not
some new people coming in,
No.
and we need all the
There's-
space we can get.
but there's no space.
So if you could just go ahead and pack up your stuff and move it down there, that would be
I was told-
okay.
And for those that don't know, that's Ag Rawl, who's like their whatever his name is, the current CEO of Twitter. But
That's good. Funny.
why not? Let's do one more. There we go. Let's do one more.
They
And
look
if you don't know about the Ministry of Truth or the whatever the cabal people are calling it, the Disinformation Society, whatever it is, who's led by this clown that literally has everything she's ever talked about has been true, that she's tried to debunk, and she's anyway. So Weird Al, this is a Weird Al Yankovic song, so you may recognize it. I don't know. There you go. That's
oh boy, funny.
I'll end with that.
Good.
Jennifer, you have any parting thoughts before I give my parting thoughts?
Nothing I can think of. I'm just enjoying putting things together. It's been interesting. I love that you picked this topic because it is good to look back on things like, just bringing up 2020 again and revisiting things and, trying things on, like just to see what does it look like now through the filter of what we are understanding more and more. I didn't understand a lot about this stuff in 2020. I knew something was really off, but you try to choose whatever side you feel that aligns with your values and your belief system. And that's what I would just like, it's going to be interesting to reevaluate a lot of things. So it's really good stuff. It's a healthy discussion. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yes, healthy discussion is always good. And regardless, like I said, it's not about whether you believe something or not. It's about the fact that you're open-minded to different things. And I 100% don't believe a lot of things, but I am very open-minded about concepts and things. That's why I love this show. That's why I like doing it with you, because I know you do a lot of digging. And we've both probably been down some of the same rabbit holes. You've done down a lot more contemporary ones than I have. But I want to show Jennifer's channel, because if you haven't seen her channel, seriously, if you like this show, you will absolutely love her show. I love this Invisible Remedial College, unraveling narratives and analyzing stories. Like, I just started watching The Sovereign Orb and the Weavers of Tweed, which is what she brought up earlier today, and asked about the amplifier, the Tweed amplifiers and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But the one I did watch that's like 2.5 hours long, I watched it, I think, a couple days ago. Underground Los Angeles, the Hopi Myth Nagas. Love it. And I think the pyramids and underground Naga cities and the Secret Snake Brotherhood, I think one of those two is where the video kind of got janky, and I can't remember if it was. I think it was the first one here. Yeah, it was this one.
It cut out, but I came back the next day. I said, they're not going to get me. I got to come back the next day and finish. So I was able to finish that conversation the next day. So it's up. The one that has, it says underground Los Angeles. That one has, it didn't have any interference. Oh, thank you, Julie. Yes, I got something that I'm working on, everybody, about festivals. I'm going to talk about Coachella and some ancient festivals, okay? So I'm going to be bringing up some things. Yeah, I heard a review of what Coachella has turned into, and it just is a good, it's like cultural analysis of just where this so-called culture is. So I'm glad someone mentioned the Met Gala. So I'm going to have to check out what the heck was that about. Because,
Yes.
yeah, it's all interesting.
I love the concepts, like the subjects of the videos. Like I never personally, I would have never thought of any of this. Yeah, like to discover on my own. Like I never. The graphics you have are good. I love like some of the pictures you got are crazy. Like
Yeah,
they're
right. Crazy.
How could you miss these thumbnails? I mean, seriously, it's like how could you miss those thumbnails?
They're loud, aren't they? They're gaudy.
But that's that's what it is. So
loud. Yeah.
But just like the names of
John,
the videos.
It's not me. It's not me either. I really do, like, I pray. I'm like, what do you want? Like, what do you want me to like talk about today? Like, it really does come to me. And then when I start out, and then the process starts and the connections happen, and then I know, okay, I'm right in that groove where I'm supposed to be. And then I just start all of my crazy connections, and then it turns into something. And then I literally have to watch it sometimes. I never liked watching my videos. I hate to hear my voice and
yeah, I'm with you.
now I have to watch these videos after I do them, because then I am actually picking up on more stuff, just listening, like being a listener. It's really weird. That's why I say I'm a student at this invisible. People got mad at me for saying remedial college. They were like, how dare you, Jennifer? I think it's fun. It's a fun name because you're not taking yourself too serious. Even I'm not a professor, I'm a student.
People have been lately, like on your lives and stuff, like coming at you like a spider monkey. I mean, it's like,
yeah, I had
what is wrong with people?
No, when I did that Adam and Eve thing, somebody was coming at me crazy. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? That brings out a different element when you start talking about biblical stuff. I can see now. So, but
yeah, we won't even get into the subject of Lady Gaga's actually a guy, but we won't go there. But so I highly recommend Jennifer's channel if you don't already spend enough time watching videos. But she just has a knack for these concepts, and it's like, how did you even think of that? That's like the first thing that comes up. I'm like literally talking to the TV. Like when I watch, I see the title come up. I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that come from?
The mind of someone who drinks from a beaker. Okay, John, always know that. Always remember. That should have informed you, right there. So I'm a person.
Yes. Yeah, the fact that she never picks up her phone or anything. Like if I get a response from her like within a day or two, then I know she's not working on anything.
Right,
like,
right. Yeah.
If I don't hear from her all week, like I could post something funny, like I'll text her something funny, and it's like crickets. I'm like, she must be working on something.
You know it.
And then here, like literally like 10 minutes before the show or something like that, I might get a reply or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, hey.
That's how I know it's not personal. I am so not.
I know it's not.
Person, but I know you understand. You understand, like, because I've just been in these research, like deep in these things. But yeah, the telephone, actually, my telephone, I think they want me to buy a new phone because it's starting to act really janky. Like, I don't know what it is. It won't pick up signal. And I can go into the phone store and they still can't get a signal. I'm not getting a new phone though. It's going to have to just wear out. I'll just be talking to you guys on, I don't know.
Well, it's
wave radio.
Yeah, there you go. But I understand that's probably why you upload a lot of your videos too, as opposed to necessarily doing lives all the time. But
oh yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, no, but thank you.
Yes. Long story short, visit her channel. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Excuse me. So next week we'll pick up, and I'll try and pre-watch the video again and skate around the Rapture event, boring parts, and then get to the good stuff, because there's some mind-opening, mind-altering, mind-blowing things that come out of that video. And for anybody that's gone down any rabbit hole for any length of time, that this was like a confirmation video of some things I'd already been thinking about. So we'll start there next week, and then the fish chicken thing might come out again. Who knows? But we'll see where it goes after that.
Times. Just when you need it.
But it is, to me, it's appropriate because I hear this all the time. I hear it from like Charlie and Joseph and other people on other channels. Oh my God, I had this amazing prophetic dream. You know, God was talking to me and blah, blah, blah. And it was beautiful. And it's like, literally, like that thing is like the representation of my prophetic dreams, you know, like just like literally like, okay, I guess I'm not one of God's children. That's
No, you are. Of course you are. He just knows all of us, right? He sends you different things, okay? Different ways.
yeah, my prophetic dreams are memes, apparently. So
But you're powerful. Memes are very powerful.
yeah, especially now that Facebook's hopefully not going to be censoring people in the near distant future. I might have to jump on there and start opening up the meme cannon. Because
Salty says, get the meme cannons.
do you watch Salty Cracker?
Yes, of course. You know, I was like,
Okay.
I love Salty for so long. He's so funny. One day I was watching his live and he totally read something. I was like, I fanned out. Yay, Salty. Yeah, no, I love
What are you boying about?
Oh, a face palm.
Yeah.
What's up, Julie?
So I'm sure I'll hear about it later, but I don't know what the face palm was in reference to, so I'm guessing it's the prophetic dream thing, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Or the lack of, I should say. Julie has some, I think God talks to her more than anybody that I know. I mean, she has some pretty like gives her names and dates and all this other stuff. All this
Oh, very specific, huh? Oh, nice.
yeah, I don't post memes on Facebook anymore. I can't even tell you the last time I was on Facebook. It's been at least a couple months.
Has it? Yeah.
But that's how sometimes I'm very like, I'm dark a little bit humor wise. So I try to get a point across by not saying anything, but just posting a meme.
Mm-hmm.
And I was notorious for that on Facebook. I would just like be passive aggressive and post these certain memes to try to get a point across.
Mm-hmm.
And it would start a shit storm of whatever, you know, how people are on Facebook. It's like, blah, 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 conspiracy, this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid or blah, 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 you know, most secure election and, you know, blah, blah, whatever. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
True.
But I have literally thousands of memes, and I have most of them labeled and at the ready for any situation. So there you go.
Love it.
But Twitter is the battleground. I will say Twitter is the battleground because the new social platforms. I know we're getting off a tangent again. I'm trying to end this thing, but anyway, like Gab and True Social and the platforms that have sprung up since all the censorship started, they're great because they're free speech, but pretty much we all believe the same thing and think alike on those platforms. So there's no real dialogue.
Right.
Right.
It's an echo chamber.
Yes. At least like on Twitter, Twitter was kind of the battleground. That's back and forth.
Really?
You know, when the grandkids are like, hey, were you in the meme wars of 2021 or 2022? Yes, I was memeing like a MFer, you know, just taking the hits, taking the flack, taking the, you know, but Twitter before it was censored was the battleground because that was the only place that you could have legit conversations with people that wanted to have legit conversations.
Yeah.
Not everybody was that way. There was a lot of attacking and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Lots of attacking.
But the theme was show evidence, or GTFO, if anybody knows what that acronym stands for. I'm hoping you do. If you have kids, you know what it stands for. Get the F out. So, and that was our mantra. It's like, we'll engage in any conversation on any subject that you want, but unless you have proof, or sauce, as we called it, unless you have the sauce, get GTFO. There's no point in even having this conversation.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't get involved in a conversation unless I had the sauce. And a lot of times it was in the form of a meme. So,
it's very effective.
but anyway, who was it? Leanne. Oh yeah, Leanne. Good night, Leanne.
Good night, Leanne.
My phone is running low.
Oh,
I hate when somebody nabs the charger. We have, especially when we're in the car and we've got the kids with us, and everybody uses the same phone but me. I think that's part of the reason why I bought an iPhone again, so people couldn't use my charger.
Smart, very smart.
Because of course nobody has the forethought of charging the phone before they get in the car, on a long trip or something like that.
Of course.
I need the charger. Well, you're gonna have to wait, buddy. You're gonna have to play your video games somewhere else for a while.
Right.
All right. Anyway, you guys have been wonderful, especially for those of you that have stuck around the whole time.
Yes.
You've been truly awesome.
Thank you.
God bless you for the support, and follow Jennifer. Maybe Jennifer and I will do a show together, live somewhere else other than this channel, and we'll get her people involved too. We'll get your chatmosphere going.
That would be fun.
She does. She's got a great chat.
Yeah,
Not that you guys aren't, but just saying it's kind of a similar situation.
We're like all the same chat.
Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions, any topics you want to cover in the future, whatever, drop them in the comment section below the video. Jennifer's information will be down there for her YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
Thank
you. Oh, thank you.
I think
Kate.
that's
good night.
Yes,
that was funny, Carol. Good night.
So good night to all you wonderful people. Love you all. And until next time, stay frosty.
Bye, John.
Good night, Jennifer.
Take care. All right.
Can't find my outro video. There we go.